Thanks for checking out this edition of This Week in the World of Football, coming to you live from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. The purpose of this podcast is to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. We hope to educate, inform, and entertain you with the glorious buffet that is the world of football, while also keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. You can find the show after it's aired live on a multitude of podcasting platforms, as well as right here on YouTube along with past shows. If you want to connect with us, just find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Threads. Those links will be down in the episode description. Remember to comment, like, and share this video. If you have thoughts or comments during the show, drop them into the live chat and maybe you'll see your name on screen. If you have questions and they are deemed appropriate, they'll be answered at the end of the broadcast. So without further ado, let's kick off this week's show.
Hello again, everyone. This is episode number 418 for November 4th, 2025. I am your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, there's a new field goal record in the NFL. The AF1's Minnesota Monsters unveil their official logo and team colors. And the CFL Playoffs are down to the final four. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the internet for me in another part of Kalamazoo, as always, is my son, Adam.
Well, howdy doody. Hopefully my internet's a lot better than last night trying to do our Just Lying Around show. So far, so good. We've been, this has been the most stress-free before a show I've been in a while. And, and we just had the NFL trade deadline close up at 4 o'clock as soon as we're going live. So I'm going to try to get a nice roundup of everything that happened so we can talk about that. But it's November and we're almost done with the year. This is crazy.
Yeah. It's some of these shows. I mean, it like 10 seconds before you hit that go live button, it's absolute pandemonium. And this week is like a half hour before we're like, hey, yeah, we got nothing going on. It's gonna be a good show today.
Should be a good one. There's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. We got quite a few topics. I'm ready to go if you are.
Yeah. All right. Not only do we have this weekly podcast, but we also make YouTube videos. We currently have over 695 videos on our YouTube channel, with the newest ones being our NFL picks video for week 9, which we did last week. And we got some upcoming videos. We're going to have, our episode of this show next week, number 419. We're going to have our NFL picks video for week 10 next week, and still working on my Have Grave Will Travel. I got the script pretty much. I told you last week I had the script done, and then I was rereading it, and I thought I better check a few of these facts again. And so I did a little more research, and so I think I'm good now. So I'll probably be recording it next week, and I'll let you work on that at your leisure, which will probably mean it'll be up in 6 months or so.
We'll see how it happens. It's been trying to calm down over here. I've been on vacation, so trying to get back in the swing of things. And then don't forget, we had that Just Lying Around episode yesterday where Kyle and I talked about the Lions-Vikings game.
That's right.
Hello to everybody in the live chat, by the way, including resident Vikings fan, Viking Wax Press, our buddy Royce. Hi, Royce. And Dale also in the chat today. Hello, fellas. Good to see you guys here as always. And then you got a video that you're also getting me to try to put out there, but we'll see. We'll see if it gets posted.
Yeah. Royce, I hope you are kind to us today. We're not in a good mood about last Sunday's game, so just be nice, and I know you will be. All right, let's begin our weekly tour around the world of football, and we're going to start off this week in the NFL. Take it away, Adam, with the NFL scores.
Hey, that's right, guys. Week 9 in the NFL this past week saw a lot of craziness leading up into this week's trade deadline. And, everything started off last week on Thursday Night Football with the return of the quarterback, the former MVP, Lamar Jackson, who helped the Ravens win 28-6 over those Miami Dolphins. So the Ravens looking good. Can they make a run here at the end of the year or, the back half of the season? Ravens now look like they got a little bit of life in them. But for the Miami Dolphins, they did part ways mutually with their general manager. I was a little surprised by this. They sound like they're going to stick it out with their head coach, Mike McDaniel. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, so Dolphins and GM, I'm trying to figure out his name here. Chris Greer. That's who it was. Chris Greer's mutual parting of the ways there with the Dolphins. So they'll have an interim GM. And so we'll see what happens with the Dolphins the rest of the year. They aren't looking so hot. And I think Mike McDaniel's job, while safe for now, boy, a couple rough losses could change things very quickly down there in South Beach.
Yeah.
All right. Then we move on to the Sunday slate of games. The first one, this wild game between two terrible teams. That's right. I said it. The Chicago Bears beat the Cincinnati Bengals 47-42. Ben Johnson dumping out a bunch of bags of tricks, or his bag of tricks. But the Bears getting the win there in a crazy one. I still think the Bears are overrated. Bears are frauds. Don't let that record fool you. That's all I will say about that one. Dad, any thoughts about the Bears?
No. You can see Ben Johnson is really putting his prints all over that team with the trick plays and this and that. Will it result in a winning season for him this year? I kind of doubt it, but at least they're having fun and they are fun to watch.
They're beating up on the bad teams, which is what you're supposed to do. I would like to remind them you couldn't beat a Ravens team that did not have Lamar Jackson. So just settle down there, buddy. And then, okay, let's just get it out of the way. The Detroit Lions fell to the Minnesota Vikings 27-24. This one was a rough one to watch, but we will give the Vikings credit. They did everything. They put the pressure on there. Brian Flores clearly has John Morton's number. That being the Vikings defensive coordinator and the Lions offensive coordinator, who didn't have any answers for that Brian Flores defense, which played outstanding. They really stopped the Lions' run game. The Lions just looked like they didn't know what was going on. And then even then, still a 3-point game at the end of the day. And resident Vikings fan Royce in the chat, all good. Vikings got lucky and had some calls go their way. Yeah, they did. Lions are still the better team, but McCarthy is giving me hope for the future. I will say, as big of a doubter as I am in McCarthy as an NFL quarterback, that was a legitimately decent performance by him. And of course, Justin Jefferson just doing Justin Jefferson stuff. Good Lord, that guy, a heck of a wide receiver there.
Yeah.
But so kudos to them. I know the Vikings got a good coaching staff, a great defense. It is a matter of if that quarterback plays well, I think that team does have a chance. So NFC North might be the best division in football, depending on if you are a believer in the Bears or not.
No, that Detroit has not looked this bad. Detroit has not looked this bad since the opening weekend against the Packers. And it was the same thing. Detroit couldn't run. The defense hounded Jared Goff all day long. And it just, I thought we were past that. I thought that was, opening game jitters, not having played together well. They put together some great games, and now all of a sudden they reverted back to this against Minnesota. I don't get it, because Detroit's better than that. So it was just a big surprise to me. I didn't think Minnesota had a chance at all, but JJ McCarthy did surprise me. He played better than I thought he would.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of alluded to it there. I think the Lions coming off of a bye doesn't help them, and that's been their bugaboo. I talked about it last night on our show. Something about the Lions having a break just isn't good for that team. They are very good when they've had momentum, and I think they looked rough in that Chiefs game too at several points. So we all know what's going to happen. I knew they weren't going to only lose 2 games this year. I just wasn't sure where these other losses were going to come. And we've had the Vikings number the last few years, so I guess it's no surprise. The Vikings got up for this one after being embarrassed the last several times we played them. So, whatever. Good for them, and we'll just move on now. The next game let's talk about in the division, the Green Bay Packers fell to the Carolina Panthers 16-13. And John in the chat, how about my Panthers? How about your Panthers? We appreciate them doing their job and getting the win over the Packers. Just would have been nice if Detroit would have got that win to jump up in the NFC North standings. But alas, we appreciate the Panthers doing a great job there. And you said you liked these uniforms in this game.
I loved it when was it Indiana or Illinois that did that last
Illinois.
year? It was Illinois. Okay. Yeah, those sweet helmets that look like they're leather helmets. I just absolutely love that. That those old timey Packers jerseys and colors. I like that too. So I mean that is a good look, and I'd love to see them bring that out once a year.
It is. I think it's really cool. Kind of going back to they're calling it the 1923 Classic. Because somebody in the chat, Dale in the chat, saying Green Bay and their ugly uniforms. Does anyone know when Green Bay wore those uniforms? 1923 is my best. That's what they said they're hearkening back to. And Royce also agreed, best Packer helmet out there. I'll give you that. That is the best Packer helmet. I like that faux leather look. I think it's just more teams should do that when they're doing throwbacks.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the game where two teams do it, like a Michigan and Ohio State should don the faux leather helmets and have the silver and the maize and blue one. I'm just saying, we all be eating good if the two teams did that. But I think it's a great look. Definitely a candidate for helmet of the year, I think. If and when we get around to some World of Football awards in December. Just going to throw that out there, guys. It's a work in progress. The World of Football awards, definitely going to have a best helmet category. I'm working on it. Trust me.
I would like to see the Packers. I would like to see the Packers wear that against the Lions, with the Lions wearing their solid silver helmet and the plain blue jersey from the 1930s. That would be an awesome look on those two teams.
I wish they would do this more often. Like if you're going to have some of these standalone games, like the Thursday night game, like they used to do the Color Rush, do throwbacks. Like the Seahawks wore their throwbacks this week. They look awesome.
I saw that.
The Broncos are going to wear their throwbacks again this Thursday night against the Raiders. So I think we need more of that. Like have these standalone Thursday nights, Sunday nights, Monday nights. Let that be a showcase of like, hey, let's take it back, do some throwback. Thanksgiving especially should be these type of uniforms. I don't know why teams avoid it, like the Lions have the last few years. So I think that's something we would all like to see as football fans. And John in the chat, I like them. They looked great losing, and I'll give you that. If your team's going to look good losing, those are the uniforms I want to lose in.
Yes.
All right. So back to the scoreboard here as we move along. The Denver Broncos defeated the Houston Texans 18-15. I caught this one after the Lions game because it's the one that they went into after the Lions game wrapped up. And the Texans had 5 field goals. That's their 15 points. Denver had a last second field goal victory again. They marched it down the field, kicked that field goal to win it. Still, I'm not sure what the status is on C.J. Stroud, quarterback for the Texans. He took a really bad hit, went into concussion protocol. So I'm not sure what his status is at the top of my head. I got all these screens going, and I just haven't looked it up. But so that's something to keep an eye out for if you're a Texans fan. You hate to see it, but the Denver Broncos don't look now looking pretty good this year. They're finding ways to win, and that's half the battle in the NFL.
Yep.
Moving on, the New England Patriots narrowly defeated the Atlanta Falcons 24-23. The San Francisco 49ers took care of the New York Giants 34-24. The Pittsburgh Steelers took care of the Indianapolis Colts 27-20. The Los Angeles Chargers took care of the Tennessee Titans 27-20. The Los Angeles Rams hung up 34 against the Saints, 34-10 in that one. Saints just looking rough. The Jacksonville Jaguars defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 30-29 in a game that saw a record-breaking field goal by Cam Little, the kicker there at Jacksonville. He kicked this at the end of the first half. He kicked a 68-yard field goal, which is now the new NFL record. He did kick that 70-yarder in the preseason, remember, that did not count for the record books because it was a preseason game.
Right.
But he breaks Justin Tucker's 66-yard field goal set in 2021, a game which I was at, which I stood in the end zone and watched as the ball came towards us, hit that goalpost and bounce in and just sucked all the air out of Ford Field that day. So I'm glad that there's a new record. And we'll talk about somebody else trying to tie the record in a little bit. But what do you think? We have a brand new longest field goal record.
That kick of his, Cam Little's, would have been good from probably 70 yards because it was well past. It hit the wall behind the goalpost. So, yeah, he'll probably push that record again before the season's over with, maybe.
Viking Wax Press. Cam Little has been watching UFL film. Look, these kickers now, I see a lot of people joking or making posts that maybe the NFL needs to start shortening the goalposts or tightening them up. I don't think they need to do that. No. Kickers are just getting better legs, and I love to see it. It gives you a new weapon. Like a 70-yard field goal now could be, I won't say a norm, but it's more in the realm of possibility. And I think that's awesome. And congratulations to Cam Little for breaking the record. He's going to be in the history books now. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, let's see Jake Bates best that one. I want to see him.
I would love to see that as well. We'll just see if Dan Campbell is willing to gamble on a big field goal like that. The Buffalo Bills took care of the Kansas City Chiefs 28-21. A little bit of a surprise. I thought the Chiefs would take this one, but the regular season Chiefs are going to be different than the playoff Chiefs when they get together with the Bills. So, so the Bills getting a nice win there, getting back in the winning column. The Seahawks defeated the Commanders 38-14, wearing those brilliant throwbacks for Seattle. Awesome. And then the Giants, the Commanders wore a modern throwback. So it was harkening back to the Washington Redskins uniforms with the stripes and the way the uniform looked, but they still had the W on their helmet, like the one I got back here, just different striping. And it looked cool. It looked good, but unfortunately, if you're a Commanders fan, you had to see your quarterback, Jaden Daniels, go down with a horrific elbow injury. If you saw the video, you probably got sick to your stomach like I did. I briefly posted a picture of it. Yeah, I briefly posted a picture of it last night on our Just Lying Around show. Yeah, it's just gruesome. Yeah, you hate to see that from a really talented young quarterback who has been sensational. When he's on the field, he is a game changer, and you just hate to see that. Dale in the chat, Seattle's uniform was awesome. That was an awesome throwback. I wish they'd go back to those uniforms. I would love to see some of these teams make some changes to some of these uniforms. It's been nice to see them, but if they were to make these changes, are we sitting here saying, oh, they're not so special because they wear them all the time now? It's kind of where we're at. Like, there's a few teams, I think the Seahawks going back to that look, I think they would need minor tweaks and they can make it permanent. But it is nice when they break those out every once in a while.
Yep.
And then finally on Monday Night Football, if you were able to watch it, that is, the Arizona Cardinals defeated the Dallas Cowboys 27-17. I say if you managed to watch it because we all know that thanks to the Google versus ESPN/Disney thing going on, if you're a YouTube TV subscriber like me, you couldn't watch last night's game because there's no longer ESPN or any of the Disney channels, which includes ABC, which means you couldn't get Monday Night Football last night. And I don't pay for ESPN streaming service, so it was just like your SOL. So I don't know. We'll see if they get that resolved. It does feel like a lot of people in the country didn't get to catch the game because of this. So, but I did see a couple of highlights from it. But thoughts, Randy?
I did watch it because I have a satellite dish, so I have no problem watching these games. Yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fun to see Dallas implode at the end of the game. A couple of interceptions and turnovers, and watching the Cardinals kneel it out at the end when Dallas didn't have any more timeouts, and Jerry Jones smacking his fist on his table when that guy I forget who it was, but there was an interception late in the game, and he was upset about that. So that made my night. But yeah, it was nice. I always enjoy watching Dallas lose, especially to Arizona, my late brother's favorite team, because he lived out there in Phoenix, and so I was happy for the Cardinals.
Dale in the chat, what I had to do was get Sling's one-day pass so I could watch the game, and it was great to see Arizona beat them. And Roy's Viking Wax Press says, I was unable to watch. Big bummer. So some people figured it out. Some people couldn't. So it is what it is. So that's, and then, so also during this game, Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey kicked a 68-yard field goal, which went wide left. Otherwise, it would have tied the record Cam Little just set. So the fact that we almost potentially had two 68-yard field goals in the same weekend of games is absolutely incredible. It would have been nuts to have two guys be talking about today, but it's just Cam Little is getting the love. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Anything else from week 9? I know you got some news items here you want to throw out there.
Yeah, for Jaden Daniels, he injured his non-throwing elbow, dislocated his non-throwing elbow. He's going to have an MRI sometime this week, and that'll determine whether he's going to be out for the season or out for however many games, based on what the MRI shows him. And the big news in Detroit was that Aiden Hutchinson signed a 4-year contract extension for $180 million with the Lions, with $141 million guaranteed. So he's not going anywhere. He's a Lion for the foreseeable future, and I'm happy about that.
I mean, it's crazy the amount of money that Detroit has put into a lot of their young talent over the last couple of years. They are just, it feels like that we finally have a team or a front office that is doing everything right. They're setting up these young players to stay with this team for the long haul. And as Roy says, Hutch is worth it. Yes, he certainly is. He's been a difference maker. I know people will say he's overpaid. That's too much money. The way these contracts work, guys, it's all mythical, math stuff that's pushed down the end of the road. This opens up like $25 million in cap space per season, I think, for Detroit. So that'll be nice. And it's just an extent. So we'll have Hutch for 6 more years. He's got 2 years left on his rookie deal, and then this new extension kicks in a couple of years. So Detroit's doing a lot of the good stuff. A lot of people like talk about how the Lions window is closed, and I beg to differ. I think their window is just opening, and they will be a competitive team, whether or not that's consistently being in the playoffs or maybe being Super Bowl bound. Hard to say. They'll at least be in the conversation for several years because they have been keeping this core intact and doing the right way by these guys, which in the past they've had issues with in terms of dealing with their talent and paying guys. So it's nice and refreshing as a Lions fan to see that going forward.
Yeah, I did read somewhere that even with this big contract, Detroit has got a lot of cap space going into next year. So it's not like the old days, like I always keep talking about, when they had Calvin Johnson and Ndamukong Suh and Matthew Stafford, and those 3 guys made up more than half of the payroll for the entire team, and everybody else was just guys they picked up off the street, and I've always said this about Detroit. Detroit has always had great players, but they've never had a great team. So you look at Calvin, Hall of Fame. You go back to when I first started watching him, Lem Barney and Charlie Sanders, Hall of Famers, Chris Spielman, and so many other guys that were really great players for the Lions that, maybe should be in the Hall of Fame. Jason Hanson, fantastic kicker. So we've had great players, but we've never had a good team. Now we've got both. So this is really a fun time to be a Lions fan.
And you're missing the third aspect of it. I think we finally have a great front office, competent people running the team, an owner that actually seems like she cares. Not that William Clay Ford never cared. He did, but at the same time, I don't think he just was good at delegating.
Right.
Or he would delegate to the wrong people. And I think Sheila got the right guys in place to turn this organization around. So, and that's the start of a good owner and a good leader, is knowing who to trust and what boundaries to give them. And they have done awesome. So we'll get off our Lions soapbox. Yes, I know, everybody. What's the next story, Dad?
Well, we are moving on to the CFL after this, unless you've got anything else for the NFL.
I thought we had more NFL stuff here. I do know, we got the trade deadline that's happening right now. I was going to try to sum up some of the trade deadline stuff here real quick.
Okay,
because the big one, obviously, the big one obviously was Sauce Gardner from the New York Jets, the cornerback there. He got traded to the Indianapolis Colts. And he's going there for 2 first-round picks. And he is signing an he did sign an extension with the Jets. Remember, this past offseason, it was a 4-year, $120 million extension. And then he gets traded. He goes from being 1-7 to 7-2 in the blink of an eye. And so the Colts getting a heck of a defender for that defense. And I mean, I already thought the Colts might be, I won't say a contender. I didn't think that at the start of the year, but now the way the Colts have been playing, Colts are in the mix. You add a Sauce Gardner to that just makes them a little scarier. So a heck of a move by the Colts making that type of move in going for that trade. The Saints traded they traded away wide receiver Rashid Shaheed to the Seahawks. That was another one of the trades that went down. Let's see. Oh, here's I'm going through Adam Schefter's Twitter real quick to get a lot of the bullet points from the trade day. The Colts are getting Sauce Gardner. The Jets are going to receive a 2026 and 2027 first round pick and wide receiver A.D. Mitchell. I guess I didn't realize that they had another player involved in that. Browns are sending defensive end Joe Tryon Shoyinka and a 7th round pick to the Chicago Bears in exchange for a 6th round pick. See what other trades happen. I'm just like scrolling around. Oh, the Jets also traded away 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys. How about that? So the Jets fire sale today as they trade away another guy. Let's see. I'm just scrolling, seeing if I missed any other big ones. There were several today. Adam Schefter did tweet out. Let's see. Oh, and then at the last minute, there was a trade. The Saints traded offensive lineman Trevor Penning to the Chargers for a 2027 6th round pick. The Chargers did have their star offensive tackle, Joe Alt. I think he was put on season-ending injured reserve. I'm not sure. So they lost the lineman. They're trading for one for the Chargers. So that's a lot of the big stuff. And no moves for the Lions. I'm not surprised with that. So today that's 7 trades today, I believe, in the NFL, including that last second one. I seem to have lost Randy as I'm jumping around between screens. So hopefully Randy comes back in. So yeah, guys, did your team make any big trade deadline deals? Are you happy with the trade deadline? Not happy with the trade deadline? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. And as we get Randy back in here, did I accidentally bump you out again, or what happened?
I don't know. On my screen, we both went blank, so I didn't know if it was on your end or my end. And I just waited for something to happen, so I just had to log back.
I was like on a different screen, and I came back, and you were gone. So you're freezing up on me right now, so I don't know if it's my internet or yours. People in the chat could let me know how the stream's looking for you. Be greatly appreciated before we transition into the CFL talk. So I guess I'll throw it over to you, Dad.
All right. Let's move on to the CFL. It was semifinal Saturday in the CFL. 2 games on Saturday. The first game was Montreal defeating Winnipeg 42-33. This was a rematch from last week's end of the regular season game between these two. Montreal led 25-6 at halftime. Winnipeg closed the gap to 32-28 by the end of the third quarter, but Montreal would not be denied as they came away with a 42-33 win to advance to the East Finals next week. Some of the notes from this game: Montreal quarterback Davis Alexander is now 12-0 as a starter. Boy, when he's in there as a starting quarterback, they do not lose. I'm just saying. Let's see. Winnipeg erased a 19-point deficit in the second half, but it wasn't enough to get the win. Winnipeg's streak of 5 straight Grey Cup appearances ends, and neither team from last year's Grey Cup is going to be back in the Grey Cup this year. Toronto didn't even make the playoffs, and now Winnipeg's not going back for a 6th straight appearance in the Grey Cup. So going to have a new champion this year, and I think that's good for the league. But, boy, Winnipeg was right there at the end of the season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they were down 19 going into the half. And Montreal is just looking good. You know, it seemed like they couldn't do any wrong. And then, man, in a 5-6 minute stretch, this whole game flipped. And it just looked like Winnipeg could do no wrong. Montreal was uncharacteristically giving the ball away. And Winnipeg was capitalizing on everything, making a lot of awesome throws, a lot of great plays in this game. And it was super entertaining. Super thrilling, and I'm glad like that these playoff games were as entertaining as they ended up being, because this is what you want for the CFL. This is why the CFL is great.
Yes,
because while that final score is 9 points there for this first game, it seemed a lot closer, and these two teams were in it till the end. And eventually, Montreal was just able to do just enough to get their distance against a hot Winnipeg team in that second half, because Montreal didn't score as much in the second half. I forget the score now at the top of my head, but I mean, for Winnipeg to score as much as they did in the second half, it was definitely their game for a little bit. They took the lead eventually, and then Montreal went down and got it right back. So this was awesome. And one thing I also want to say, if you were watching that game or watching the highlights, the crowd there in Montreal, I don't think I've ever heard audio from a crowd like that, where it was like getting to that like staticky, like it was clipping, you know, it was awesome. It must have been real loud. I would have loved to have been in that atmosphere. It seemed like that would have been a good one to be at.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So let's talk stats then.
Go through the stats.
I got you. Quarterback Davis Alexander for the Alouettes was 24 of 34 passing for 384 yards, a touchdown and an interception. He also ran for 32 yards and had a rushing touchdown. Running back Stevie Scott ran the ball 18 times for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Tyson Philpott had 10 catches for 135 yards and a touchdown. He also had a 1-yard rushing touchdown. For Winnipeg, quarterback Zach Collaros was 19 of 26 passing for 306 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Running back Brady Oliveira carried the ball 8 times for 38 yards, and wide receiver Cedric Wheatfall led the receivers for their team, 5 catches, 104 yards, and kicker Sergio Castillo was 4 for 4 on his field goals.
That's his name is Carrick Wheatfall.
Oh, Carrick Wheatfall. Did I read it wrong? Sorry, my print is really tiny. Oh, Carrick. Yep. That's on me. That's on me right there. And, of course, our resident Canadian and Montreal fan, Tim Capper, in the chat. Loud, despite being 3,000 short of capacity due to the transit strike there in Montreal. Yeah, I did see some seats up in the upper deck. But, yeah, that was, I'm sure, Tim, that was loud and awesome. Dale in the chat. Sorry, Randy, it's going to cover your face up. That is bizarre. One team scored 33 and wins, and one team scored 33 and loses. It's really weird to see 2 teams score the same amount of points with different results in the CFL. Hey, what do we talk? There's crazy stats all the time. We talk about the winning quarterback usually having less passing yards than the winning quarterback. So,
yeah,
it's welcome to the CFL. It's one of the things that make it awesome.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the second playoff game on Saturday, which saw the BC Lions defeat the Calgary Stampeders 33-30. BC led 13-7 at halftime. The game was tied 27-27 with 2 minutes remaining. The teams traded field goals to make the score 30-30 with 29 seconds left in the game, but it was BC kicker Sean White who kicked the game-winning 43-yard field goal as time expired for the win. Wow, what a wild ending to that game that could have gone either way at any moment. Yeah, that was a fun one to watch.
It could have, and a great one there. BC place, which we've been to a year ago, which is crazy to think about. It's been a year since we were at that Grey Cup there, but awesome for them. BC are they the hottest team right now in the CFL? They just might be. I know, there's a lot for these last 4 teams going into these, final games that are kind of trending in everybody's favor. Montreal's got the Davis Alexander factor. They're looking good. Hamilton looking good. Saskatchewan's been good all year, and now BC getting hot at the right time. We are in for a treat. If these games next weekend, the East and West final, or anything like the semifinals this week, we are in for a treat next weekend. I'm telling you, so excited. And this game was great. I was on the edge of my seat to the end of this one, and BC pulling it out. You love to see it. And now Nathan Rourke, can he finally get to a Grey Cup? He's kind of been that up and coming QB star that we've all been wondering, can he do it? And he's 1 game away.
Well, he didn't do it all by himself. The BC defense sacked Vernon Adams 4 times in the game and also caused a forced fumble. And BC's Robert Carter Jr. returned a kickoff 95 yards for a touchdown in the third quarter. So they were doing it on special teams. They were doing it on defense. The offense was clicking. This was a complete game by BC. So congratulations to them.
Yep. Nathan Rourke, quarterback for those BC Lions, was 16-22 passing for 223 yards, no touchdowns. He also led the team with rushing with 68 yards and had a rushing touchdown. He had that one scramble, which he had a lot of opportunity to just, either run out of bounds and he'd juke a guy and he kept going. So Nathan Rourke can can pretty much, when he's got it, when he has to, he'll run it. But the dude's got an arm too, so a heck of an athlete there. Wide receiver Justin McInnis for the Lions led the receivers with 4 catches for 84 yards. And we mentioned his name already. Kicker Sean White, 4 for 4 on his field goals, including that game winner as time expired. For the Stampeders, their season's over. But quarterback Vernon Adams in this game went 23 of 33 for 334 yards. There's your quarterback throwing more passing yards in a losing effort stat. He also had 2 touchdowns. He also ran for 24 yards. Running back Dedrick Mills for the Stampeders carried the ball 14 times for 111 yards. And wide receiver Jalen Philpott had 7 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Clark Barnes, 4 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Calgary kicker Rene Paredes, 3 for 3 on field goals, the longest of which came from 50 yards. So, heck of a weekend there in the CFL.
Yeah, and so for the playoffs, the 2 top teams in each division had byes. So, in the West, Saskatchewan had a bye. In the East, Hamilton had a bye. And next week in the division finals, 2 more games on Saturday. It's going to be Montreal at Hamilton. That's a 3:00 game for the East finals. And later on that day at 6:30 in the evening, it's BC at Saskatchewan in the West finals. The winner of those 2 games is going to advance to the 112th Grey Cup on Sunday, November 16th. It's only a couple weeks away, and that game is going to be played in Winnipeg.
Yep. So looking forward to it. I think any combination of these 4 teams, this is going to be a heck of a finals weekend, and then it's going to be a heck of a Grey Cup, I think. So I think buckle up, everybody. The CFL is doing some good stuff, despite a lot of the rule changes they're trying to implement over the next couple of years. So excited, very excited to see who's going to hoist that Grey Cup.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of these 2 games. They're Montreal and Hamilton. That's going to be a wild game in Hamilton, and I'm kind of sorry, Tim. I'm kind of rooting for the Tiger Cats because they have not won a Grey Cup since 1999. Every other team's won a Grey Cup since 2000, but you got to go back to 99 for Hamilton winning a Grey Cup. And I'd love to see Nathan Rourke win out there in the West, but boy, oh boy, Saskatchewan has just looked so good this year that's going to be a whale of a game too. So, like you said, whatever the matchup is for the Grey Cup, it's going to be something else, and I can't wait.
All right, well then let's, before we end this, pick your winners. Give me your official who you think's going to win.
Oh man, I'm going to go with Hamilton in the East, and boy, I want to pick BC, but I'm going to have to go with Saskatchewan in the West.
Oh, man, you're not the only one rooting for Hamilton. Dale in the chat is also. I'm going to follow the Davis Alexander factor. I think the Alouettes.
Well, there you go. That's true.
I'm going to take the Alouettes in that one. And then I think as much as I would like to see Nathan Rourke get to a Grey Cup, I think the Rough Riders of Saskatchewan are going to take that one. So that's my prediction. Royce in the chat, he says, go Ticats. Love to see the underdogs win or Undercats. Dale in the chat, he's taking BC for the upset. So, hey, we got a lot of different people thinking different stuff's going to happen. Regardless, should be great football up there in Canada. I'm excited. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah. All 4 of those teams have a legit shot to win the game and advance to the Grey Cup.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Is that it for CFL?
Now we're going to go on to college football.
All right.
This was week 10 in college football. We're going to start with the top 25 in the FBS level. Number 1, Ohio State over Penn State, 38-14. It was number 2, Indiana, which you're wearing their shirt. Thanks to Nathan. Number 2, Indiana over Maryland, 55-10. It was NC State upsetting number 8, Georgia Tech, 48-36. And that's the first loss of the season for Georgia Tech. Number 20, Texas upset number 9, Vanderbilt, 34-31. SMU upset number 10, Miami of Florida, 26-20. West Virginia upset number 22, Houston, 45-35. And number 24, Utah upset number 17, Cincinnati, 45-14. In some other FBS scores, it was Western Michigan over their bitter rival Central Michigan by the score of 24-21, keeping the what is it, the Cannon Trophy, the battle for the Cannon. That's the trophy that goes back and forth between those two schools.
Yeah, let's see if I can find a picture of that real quick. But yeah, they won the Cannon Trophy. The Victory Cannon is what it's called.
Victory Cannon. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so pretty cool. I'm surprised you haven't done a history lesson on that trophy at all, Randy.
Well, there's also the Michigan MAC Trophy between Central, Western, and Eastern Michigan. I don't know if I did a history lesson on that. I might have. I can't remember. But
I mean, it's not like the greatest trophy in the world, but
no, but I mean, it means something to those 3 MAC teams in Michigan.
Yeah, let me see. If nobody's ever seen it, I'm trying to pull up the image right here. I don't think this is from this year's game because it was in Western or at Western, but this is what the Victory Cannon Trophy looks like.
It's not a real cannon. It's just
cannon on there. No, yeah. I would hope it's not a real cannon sitting on that base like that, but
yeah. Okay, so moving on to some other scores at the FBS level, it was Liberty over Delaware, 59-30. Arizona over Colorado, 52-17. It was James Madison over Texas State, 52-20, and Louisiana Tech over Sam Houston, 55-14. Like I said, that a lot of blowouts at the FBS level this week. And then moving on to the military academies, it was Army over Air Force, 20-17. I hated to see that. I didn't even get a chance to watch this game. And then finally, North Texas over Navy, 31-17. Navy loses their first game of the season and drops to 7-1. So that means that there are now just 4 undefeated teams after week 10. You got number 1, Ohio State, number 2, Indiana, number 3, Texas A&M, and number 8, BYU, all at 8-0. Those are your last 4 undefeated teams at the FBS level. Turning to some news in major college football, Auburn head coach Hugh Freeze is fired after 2+ seasons. His record at the school was 15-19 overall and only 6-16 in the SEC. Yeah, that's not going to keep you around very long if you can't win the SEC games. Freeze, who is 56 years old, will be owed $15.8 million in a buyout after signing a 6-year, $49 million deal in 2022. Freeze is the 8th Power 4 coach to be fired this season. That just came out today. I don't think it was made public yesterday. So that's really recent news. Another story out of major college football. I'm sorry. Did you have something you want to say?
I was just gonna say, it's just been crazy the amount of firings that there have been in college football. I mean, there's always a lot every year, but I feel like we're getting so many early on in the season this year. Like usually, the last few weeks, before bowl games, they do this, but it's been like a murderer's row of like big programs just like going separate ways from their head coaches. It's just like, who are they going to fill these vacancies with? Like, it's just absolutely crazy right now. Like college football is just something else.
Yeah, and it's not just so much these major college coaches getting fired, but it's how much they're owed in their big, massive contracts too. This one was only what was it, 15.8 million. We've had 54 million, 57 million. It's ridiculous with the money these coaches are making.
Some school just hire us to fire us, and then we'll just take the buyout. Like, good Lord, at this point, my God. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then Dale in the chat, real quick, Dad. Dale in the chat. I asked this last week. Where did they get the money to pay these big contracts? Between NIL deals and donors, it's just there's so many other avenues that they're getting all this money and funneling it into these coaching hires. Like, it's my God. Like, it's the amount of money college football is making. They're practically a legitimate professional sporting organization now.
Right.
We're there. We are absolutely there. It is no longer amateur hour in college football. We have it's been this for a while. People just need to wake up. It's what it is.
Okay, and the last story from college football: the city of Pasadena and the Rose Bowl are suing UCLA for exploring the possibility of playing their football games at SoFi Stadium. They're being sued for just looking into it. They haven't signed a contract or anything. UCLA has played its home games in the Rose Bowl since 1982. UCLA signed a contract in 2010, which was amended in 2014, which links UCLA to play their home games at the Rose Bowl through June 30th of 2024. So personally, I don't think they're going anywhere. I just think it's weird that they're already suing them when they haven't done anything yet, other than have a conversation with SoFi about moving their games to that stadium. So I
I know,
think
right? If that's how things worked, I would have been kicked off this podcast a long time ago. I've been looking for my escape hatch for a while with Randy here. I've been looking at joining Off the Wall. I've been looking at joining Alouette's Flight Deck, AF1 Fan Zone. There's no shortage of other podcasts and YouTube channels out there that I've been exploring, jumping this ship and going to a different organization. And Randy hasn't fired me yet. So, if I got in trouble for just talking and entertaining the idea, good Lord, Randy would have kicked me off a long time ago.
you ain't going nowhere. Now get back to work. All right, moving on to some FCS scores.
Hold on. Trey, hey, my future boss is in the chat. Ring. Thanks, Trey.
Wait a minute. You did get a T-shirt from him last week. Oh, man. Should I be worried?
I did. Do we revive the bit from last week, Randy?
No. We're going to move on, and we're going to keep going and finish our own show.
Oh, okay. Well, Trey, call me.
Yeah.
Or I guess the kids do this now. Isn't that stupid? We used to do this. Now the kids do this for phone calls. Like this generation, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Rotten kids. Let's see. At the FCS level, it was Towson over North Carolina A&T, 62-9. In the Ivy League, it was Harvard over Dartmouth, 31-10. In Division II, it was Ferris State over Northern Michigan, 70-35. And as a bonus score, we have Grand Valley State over Wayne State of Michigan, 59-13. Yeah, all four of those schools are right here in Michigan. Grand Valley State's just an hour north of us. Ferris State's about another half hour north of that from here. Ferris State's where my brother Bob went to college, started out there. And so, yeah, I just thought it was cool that two teams from this area have had really, really good games this past weekend. Moving on to the Division III, it was Adrian College over Kalamazoo College, 34-7. And as a bonus score, it was Lake Forest shutting out Lawrence, 72-0 in Division III. Going to move on to the NAIA level. St. Francis of Indiana over Olivet Nazarene of Illinois, 30-22. And a little bonus score there. Northwestern of Iowa over Midland of Nebraska, 23-17 in double overtime.
Wow.
Now, you hadn't heard about this one, but of course, I always do the Snow College scores from Ephraim, Utah, because it's Snow College,
yes, you do.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Their game last Saturday, Snow College defeated Community Christian College from Dearborn, Michigan, by the score of, get this, 101-6. In the first quarter, get this, I got these stats. I got a lot of stats here I want to tell you. In the first quarter, it was 23-0. In the second quarter, they scored 44 more points, and Community Christian College scored their lone 6 points in that quarter. So at halftime, it was 67-6. In the third quarter, Snow College added another 14 points, and in the fourth quarter, they added another 20 points. That's the first time since 2018 that a college football team has surpassed 100 points in a season. In this game, Snow College had 337 rushing yards to 8 rushing yards for Community Christian College. Snow College had 484 total yards to 98. Snow College had 4 interceptions for 100 yards. They did have 9 penalties for 108 yards. They did not punt in this game. And the time of possession actually went to Community Christian College. They had it for 38 minutes and 6 seconds. Snow College had it for 21 minutes and 54 seconds. The attendance at the game, 1,871 fans in attendance. And this was the first meeting between these two schools. So what an absolute incredible day for our beloved Snow College. I want to get out there and see a game sometime. Not sure when that'll happen. Hopefully in the next year or so, but I would love to go out there and see a game, get some merch. So, nice sweatshirt, maybe some shorts and keychain or whatever they got. Anything that says Snow College on it, I'll take it.
Hey, Snow College, you heard Randy. Just call him, or however, if you got a younger person running your social media too, call Randy.
And as a bonus score at the junior college level, it was Independence over Dodge City by the score of 6-3. That's kind of the other end of the spectrum in scores from the National Junior College Athletic Association. All right, moving on up to Canada for U Sports, their version of the NCAA up there. It was the playoff semifinal games. There were 4 of them this past weekend. It was the St. Mary's Huskies shutting out the Acadia Axemen 37-0. The Queens Golden Gales over the Windsor Lancers 36-25. The Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawks over the Guelph Griffins 37-30. And the St. Francis Xavier X-Men over the Bishops Gators 26-24. And then finally in Canadian Junior College Football League action, there was no action. They've got a game next week. Their championship game is already set. November 9th, it's the 117th CJFL Canadian Bowl. The Okanagan Sun at 10-0 taking on the Saskatoon Hilltops also at 10-0. So we'll have that score next week, and that'll be it for Canadian Junior Football League action for the year. And that's it for the scores. But I think you have a little something from our man in Japan, Greg St. James.
Yep, that's right, guys. He's back again with another installment of his weekly updates from Japan. So sit back, relax, and let Greg fill you in on all the happenings from across the sea.
And now we're off across the Pacific, where our man in Japan, Greg St. James, has all the news from the land of the rising sun.
Greetings from the Man Cave here in Japan. Greg St. James here with you this week for the scores and X1 play, specifically the X1 area scores for this past week. We got 5 of them. So let's kick it right off here. We had Bullseyes were 24-0 winners over the Saitama Bulls. Deers were 31-7 winners over the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. The Dentsu Caterpillars were 10-7 winners over Club Triax. We had the Nagoya Cyclones were 27-17 winners over the J-Stars. And lastly, we had the As-1 Black Eagles were 15-7 winners over Lead Effort. Those are that's all we had this week. This was round 5, so only one round left here in X1 area play. And for X1 Super, we've got 1 week left, and that's coming up this weekend, where all the playoff positions, everything will be settled, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have, if the pairings come out the way John, Aaron, and the rest of the crew, including our old co-host and friends of the show, hopefully the playoff format will be such where we know we're going to actually have a different matchup this year in the Rice Bowl. Last 4 years, we've had the same 4 teams. So fingers crossed on our end that we're going to see at least one new team in the Rice Bowl. Maybe 2. We don't know. But yeah, that's what we got coming up here as we push further into November. And yeah, that's really it. That's just really quiet here this week in the world of football here in Japan. And for anybody who is listening for the first time, doesn't know anything what really I'm talking about, we do play football, professional football, well, semi-professional football here in Japan. And it's one of the highest levels and actually it is the highest level in international football. I know people out there listening would argue with me and John and Aaron, but nah, I think our belief here is outside of North America, football here in Japan is number one. I don't care what's going on in Europe, and but that's my own personal opinion. So, hey, listen, enough of me rambling here. But hey, Randy and Adam, we'll talk to you next week. And next week, like I said, we'll give you the scores for the final week, the final round, the final week of X1 Super Play, and then we'll start talking playoffs. So, all right, guys, take care and talk to you soon.
Gridiron Japan.
Thanks again, Greg, as always. Do you agree, Dad? Do you think Japan's football is better than European football? Am I opening a can of worms?
I've not seen a whole lot of Japanese football. I don't get onto the websites and check out some of their stuff. I think I've seen more highlights from Europe and Mexico, and that's pretty good stuff. So if he's going to make that claim, it must be some really good football being played in Japan. I can't verify that, but I'll take Greg's word for it because he's there and we're not. Yeah, I love the fact that he was wearing an Edmonton Elks sweatshirt. He had so many
Eskimos.
I'm sorry, Eskimos. Yes, and he had
because I could see you in the little green room. You were doing this like you were like.
Yeah, I had to put on my glasses. I love looking at his man cave walls because he's got USFL from the 80s pennants up there. He's got NFL. There's a Lions one right over his head. He's got an old Dallas Texans helmet, before they became the Kansas City Chiefs on his shelf, and I've got one of those too. But there's so much stuff there to look at, and I love looking at it because I pick out something different every time I watch his videos. But yeah, I did like the CFL sweatshirt that he had on. So thanks, Greg, for doing this every week, and we'll look forward to next week's report. All right, so now we're going to move on to some other news in the world of football. We got a couple of stories from Arena Football 1, and the first one is the Minnesota Monsters unveiled their official logo and team colors. They were formerly the Duluth Harbor Monsters. I love the name Duluth Harbor Monsters. I kind of wish they would have kept it, but legalities, new owner, blah blah blah. They had to change it. So this is their new logo with their colors, which the colors are, to me, they're basically the same as the old colors. Kind of a yellowish, goldish, blue and gray and black. To me, it's not that different, but new team logo, new text for the Monsters name. But when I saw this, I like it. I like the logo a lot.
It's great.
It's
fantastic. And the whole, I know you're going to get there where you're going to compare it to. Let me get a thought in first. Yeah. I do like, if you look at that, if you look at the Monsters text, you got the little trees in the M. I mean, that's a nice little touch there. And then there's the trees in the background of the Harbor Monster, or the Monsters logo, because they're not the Harbor Monsters anymore. So they kind of go from the Harbor theme to just a monster in the wilds of Minnesota. So I like that change and incorporating all that. I think that's a great look. It looked great on the helmet and on the uniforms and all that. So looking very forward to that. Even John in the chat, I really like that logo. We do too. But when you saw this, you thought of something else, didn't you?
My first thought was that it looked an awful lot like the Chupacabras, the New Mexico Chupacabras logo. And when I compared them, they're a little bit similar, but they're really not. But that was the first thing I thought of was, gosh, that does remind me of the Chupacabras logo. And there you go. You tell me, do you agree or not? Are they too similar?
There's similarities, but I mean, I don't think that was the first thing. It reminded me of something I could just never quite put my finger on it. But I like both. Obviously, I like the Chupacabras logo. It's not AF1 themed, but I could see there's similarities. They're looking in the same direction. They got the pointy ears, they got the fangs, open mouth, aggressive. That's about all you got there that's similar. Otherwise, they're two totally different things. I wouldn't have thought of that at first, but I could see where you're coming from with that one. In the chat, Royce thinking he thought it looked like the Rougarou logo a little bit. I could see that from the NAL. Let's see. That is a pretty cool logo for the Minnesota Monsters. I like it. Like I said, I think the Monsters logo itself.
Yep.
Cool rebrand for them.
Thumbs up on that.
You know, and their head coach was on AF1 Fan Zone last night talking about some of the changes with the team. Because their old head coach Tony O'Neill had to step down for mental health reasons, and we wish them the best of luck. So
right.
But I look forward to seeing what they do or how much different the Monsters will be compared to what the Harbor Monsters look was. So let's get on that helmet like the Washington Wolfpacks. I mean, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know
McGee
if
in the
they could do
chat.
that. I don't know if they could do that with that logo, but that's an interesting thought.
I'm down for something unique, but I'm sure it'll just be that logo on the side of a yellow helmet. And I don't know if the AF1 will do alternate helmets this year or not, but there's a lot of ways they could go with that. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let's see the other story that was coming out of the AF1. Former NFL star Willie Buchanan is the new team ambassador for the Oceanside Bombers. He played with the Packers and Chargers from 92. I'm sorry, that should be 1972 to 1982. This came out this morning from a lot of different sources. We were one of them. I think just about every other place that covers indoor and arena football was on this, and we were glad to be part of the breaking news on that this morning.
Yeah, just interesting. There's a lot to unpack here. I know there's a lot of people questioning, this out there. I saw this on a lot of the social media about why are they making this announcement when the team isn't official.
Yeah,
it is a little strange. I trust the people running the AF1. It is a little putting the cart before the horse-ish. Sure. But regardless, they're getting a cool, NFL vet who's part of that community to be involved. I think that's a big deal. Yeah, I don't think they really care about them kind of spoiling that this is actually going to be a team. There's so many other question marks around the Bombers as an organization that I think we're all waiting to see what exactly gets answered. But let's talk about Buchanan for a second. Our buddy Trey, obviously off the wall, he retweeted our thing this morning, but he posted a really good breakdown of some of the highlights of Mr. Buchanan's career. He was a first-team All-Pro in 1978, a two-time Pro Bowler in 1974 and 1978. He won NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 1972. He was part of the San Diego Chargers 50th anniversary team. He's in the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame. He's a second-team All-American in 1971. His number 28 was retired at the San Diego State Aztecs University. And he does have an NFL record for the most passes intercepted in a single game with 4. And that's a tie. So a very awesome resume he's got. And I believe he is from Oceanside, California. So
yes,
that's awesome. That's the kind of thing you want.
Yep,
and
exactly.
And now the Bombers officially unofficial. I was kind of skeptical. I wasn't sure if they were actually AF1 or not. I haven't heard anything, but by this press release, confirmation by the AF1.
Yep.
Obviously they'll have a press conference probably then either a week from Wednesday or at some point soon. If they're even part of this year. I wonder if that's on the table. I don't know this for a fact. Could they be a 2026 team? Because there's so many issues. Like they say they're playing in the same arena as the Strike Force. They don't, as far as we know, have players, coaches. There's a lot of big question marks right now. This late in the game of the arena off season, and that's not to say that there's a lot of stuff being done behind the scenes we don't know about. Like we heard the coach for the Arsenal, Sean Liotta, talk about he had a contract signed months before that announcement. So who knows what other stuff they got behind the scenes that we just don't know about. And like I said, I trust the AF1 brass. And if they think this is a viable option that could actually fruit and play in 2026, more power to them. I know there's a lot of people, and rightfully so, who are going to think otherwise. And I even said somebody compare this to it's an Arizona Bandit situation all over again. We'll just have to wait and see. But regardless, Cool logo, by the way. I do like that Bombers logo, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens, guys. The AF1's clearly got some sort of plan, and we'll just have to wait and let it bear fruit. Any thoughts from you?
And we still don't know about the Billings Outlaws. Will they play? If they play, where are they going to play? It's been awful quiet there. Stephen Titus, my best friend, give us a call. Let us know. We'll be glad to break the news for you.
Yeah. So, look, I get it. There's a lot of impatient AF1 fans out there. We just got to be patient. Like I said, I trust the front office, and I feel like they've learned from a lot of their mistakes. Well, right now it looks like a couple of things they're doing the same thing they did last year, but we'll wait and see. If it works out, we'll have the egg on our face. If it doesn't, it's the other way around. But we don't want anything negative. We want this all to work out. Clearly, the AF1 thinks this will work out. So, and who knows? There could be other announcements on top of this. If the rumors are to be believed, there could be a different team in the mix we haven't even heard about to be announced. So, until that schedule is officially released here, and we are at the beginning of November, I would anticipate hearing something by the end of the month, at least about a schedule. But we'll see. The AF1's got their timetable. We'll just have to be patient.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's move on to today's birthdays and anniversaries. The first birthday we have for November 4th is tackle Orlando Pace, who turns 50 years old today.
I got to get the right... let me get the right thing on screen, Randy. There we go.
There we go. He played his college football at Ohio State. He was the first overall pick in the 1996 NFL draft by the St. Louis Rams. He played 13 NFL seasons. He was with the Rams from 97 to 2008, and he finished his career with the Chicago Bears in 2009. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2016. The other birthday today is that of Coach Steve Mariucci, who turns 70 years old today. He played college football at Northern Michigan University, and he was an assistant coach at Northern Michigan, Cal State Fullerton, and Louisville between 78 and 84. In 1985, he was with the Orlando Renegades and the LA's Los Angeles Rams. He was with USC and California in the college ranks from 96 to 91, or I'm sorry, 86 to 91. Then he was the quarterbacks coach at Green Bay for the Packers from 92 to 95, where he coached none other than Brett Favre. And then he was the head coach at California in 1996, head coach of the San Francisco 49ers from 97 to 2002, and finally, head coach of our beloved Detroit Lions from 2003 to 2005. He is currently an NFL Network's analyst. You can see him every week talking about NFL games. I wish he could have worked out more because he's a Michigan guy, born and raised in the state, and it just didn't work out for him there. But glad he had a chance to at least coach the Lions as his last stop in the coaching ranks.
Yeah, but that goes back to your old thing, which used to be this is the place where coaches came to die because he didn't get another job after that.
Yes. Yeah. I got a whole list of coaches that came to Detroit as the head coach, and they left and never coached another NFL game again. Not as a head coach anyway. They came back as assistants, but not the head coach. Let's see. Let's move on to a couple of obituaries we got. We got 3 obituaries this week, and this is where we take a moment to honor those who made the world of football a better place. The first one is Darrell Sanders, a tackle in the NFL for 4 seasons, has passed away at the age of 84. Sanders played college football at Ohio State and won a national championship with the team in 1961 under Coach Woody Hayes. He was selected with the 12th overall pick in the 1963 NFL draft by the Detroit Lions. He was also selected in the 4th round of the 1963 American Football League draft by the Kansas City Chiefs. He signed with the Lions and played his entire 4-year career in Detroit from 1963 to 1966.
All right, our next obituary is that of Bob Trumpy, tight end in the NFL for 10 seasons, has passed away at the age of 80. Trumpy played college football at Illinois and Utah and was selected in the 12th round of the 1968 NFL draft by the Cincinnati Bengals. He played his entire career with the Bengals from 1968 to 1977. After his playing career, Trumpy went into broadcasting with NBC Sports and was a longtime color analyst for NFL games.
And finally, Carol Davis has passed away, the widow of former Oakland Raiders owner Al Davis and the mother of current Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis, has passed away at the age of 93. She was known as the First Lady of Raiders Nation. She lit the Al Davis torch at Allegiant Stadium before the team's first game in Las Vegas in 2020, and she presented former Raiders coach Tom Flores for his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2021. All right, so moving on to our upcoming events calendar. Sunday, November 9th, that's this Sunday, the international game between the Falcons and the Colts in Berlin, Germany for the first time. Again, NFL Network, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then the next week on November 16th, the final international game series of the year, of the international series, Commanders at the Dolphins. Commanders versus the Dolphins in Madrid, Spain. Again, NFL Network, 9:30 a.m. And then later that night, it's the 112th CFL Grey Cup game in Winnipeg. So you can watch a game in Madrid, Spain in the morning, and you can watch the game from Winnipeg, Canada in the evening, and games all over the U.S. during that day. So it's going to be quite the international day that day.
My wife's going to be thrilled that day.
And my wife never is when I watch that much football. Let's see. And then Saturday, November 22nd, it is the 161st Lehigh versus Lafayette game at Lehigh. That's at the FCS level, the oldest or most continuously played series in all of college football. And later that day, the 141st Harvard-Yale game at the Yale Bowl this year. So a lot of great football coming up in the next couple of weeks and leading into December. And that is everything that I have for today's show. Anything else you want to talk about before we
I did highlight one question from the live chat, and I know we're about to wrap the show up in a second, guys. So if you've got any last second questions, thoughts, opinions, throw them in the chat now, and we'll try to highlight them before we call it a day. But I wanted to highlight this one from John in the live chat here. What's the word on the TAL or the Arena League now that the Monsters are gone? Dear God, I need more Lunkers football in my life. Go Fish. And well, before we answer that question, that led to Viking Wax Press saying he's got the Lunkers theme in his head now and he loves it. Off the wall saying it's a humongous fish. And we got the fish love there in the chat. We'll put John's back on the screen. Last I heard, they are going to be announcing a couple of franchises here in the near future. I want to say I heard Memphis as one of their destinations. And as far as I know, as of right now, I could be corrected. That's the only one we know of, that Memphis is a location they're looking into. So I'd be just on the lookout for that. Otherwise, supposedly they're trying to get back to an even amount of teams because, it's losing the Harbor Monsters is a tough thing for them. So we'll see what they end up doing. They've been very quiet since the Monsters left.
Yeah, they have been. They're down to 5 teams now, so I can see them adding one team now to bring them back up to 6. I don't see them adding 2 more to make it 8. But
you never know.
We'll see. You never know. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes when nobody's talking, nobody's hitting the social medias or putting out any press releases.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. We want things to work out for that league. I mean, they're fun league doing their own thing. Yep. So we'll have to just wait and see. And when that news breaks, guys, we will hopefully get to talk about that here on the This Week in the World of Football podcast / YouTube show. Viking Wax Press with Tim Brown in charge. I am confident they will be okay. I'm glad you're confident in him, sir, because we'll see.
We're on the fence.
All right, Dad, that's it for the live questions. It looks like right now I will throw it back over to you to wrap today's show up.
All right. Well, that's all for this week. Don't forget to check out the World of Football merchandise at teepublic.com. That's teepublic.com for the latest in football-related T-shirts, hats, mugs, and more from our merch store. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody And I mean, nobody loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in different parts of Kalamazoo, Michigan, talking about all things football. Join us again next week when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
And I could use more football swag, team. Send it to us. I'll rep you on the show.
Yes, we will. We can be bought. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks again for checking out this edition of This Week in the World of Football. New episodes of the show are posted every Tuesday and can be found wherever good podcasts are available. You can find the World of Football on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Threads by searching for TWOF Kalamazoo or using the links in the episode description below. Be sure to subscribe to the World of Football on YouTube for more great football-related content. Just search for the World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @TheWorldOfFootball to find us. Remember, every like, comment, and subscription really does help us out, and we appreciate you for that support. We hope to see you again next time.